Manchester United looked out of it completely, didn't they? Came back to get a point, 3-3, 60% of the ball they had. The expected goals telling some sort of story, but it does begin to tell a story of this game. It's difficult to know where to start, Craig, because there's so many different sort of parts to this game. I can tell you this, I only watched for the first 70 minutes and then went off to the gym because I thought it was done. It was over.
Well, I think Sheffield United, I think there was a couple of things happened. They started to tire because of the way they approached all their games, really. And United had made some substitutions and some changes, in all fairness, to Solskjær by this point. And that kind of got United on the front foot. However, it doesn't really tell the story of the first hour, at least, where Man United were, and I know they have a very bad injury list, but they were horrendous. They were absolutely horrendous. They tried to match up in a kind of similar system with three at the back, probably primarily because of the injuries, but maybe a little bit to do with Sheffield United as well. And there's only one team could play that way. There's only one team that was comfortable in that shape, and that was Sheffield United. If you've watched them recently, they're a very good side under Chris Wilder. They went to Tottenham before the international break, completely played them off the park, should have won, only got a point. And it was no surprise, Ed, that they were 2-0 up because United just couldn't get in the game. And the fact it took Solskjær to half time to change it was a head scratcher, because during that first half they were getting completely overrun in the middle of the park, but yet he continued with the same shape, changed it at half time and almost got himself, and I mean almost stole 3 points.
Does this paper over the cracks, Craig, for United and for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Oh, we'll be papering over the cracks from now until somebody else replaces Solskjær and maybe Ed Woodward and some other people at United. So it almost gave the look of a decent away performance in the second half with the 3 points. But it really wasn't, and Sheffield United will be kicking themselves. They got tired, they got slack, they got sloppy, and they allowed United back into it.
Look, I thought this game hinged on two changes. One enforced, that of Moussa for Sheffield United. He picked up an injury, and I think his pace, or not being able to call on his pace, hurt Sheffield United and weren't able to stretch Manchester United, as we saw in the first half. Involved in the first goal, scored the second. And then the changes started to take hold, or the injury started to take hold and benefit Manchester United. You get yourselves in front. And then for me, I think Solskjaer made a mistake in taking off Martial. And now all of a sudden, after being on the front foot, after somehow pinning Sheffield United against the ropes and getting your noses in front, you make a very defensive substitution in a game where Manchester United didn't defend well, inviting Sheffield United to put them under pressure with crosses which they'd done all game long. Manchester United have not done the basics well. All that being said, as good as Sheffield United have been all season and were in this game, as soon as United got the first goal, unexpectedly, they seemed to forget their own lines, which is not something we're able to say about Sheffield United all season long.
Did you understand that move by Solskjaer, taking Martial off towards the end? I mean, they'd almost got out of jail. They had the 3 points at that stage.
There's not a lot of what Solskjaer's been doing that I understood, but, you know, at the end of the day, he made a decision. That was it. I just... Look, there's a long list of injuries at Man United. We know that. I mean, they missed McTominay today as well. The young guy's been a big threat for them. But Pereira and Fred in the midfield, how exposed they were was quite... And I felt sorry for young Brandon Williams because... thankfully, the lad got himself a great goal, which will give him a lot of confidence. But he was left hung out to dry in the first half as a left wing-back. And he got no help whatsoever. And he got tortured down Sheffield United's right-hand side. So there was lots of things that were absolutely sticking out for Solskjær to try and change during that first half. And he didn't do it.
Julien Laurens is with us. Jules, what was your main takeaway from those wild 90 minutes?
I agree completely with what the boys just said, especially Shaka. I think the Moussa substitution first, because he was injured, he picked up an injury, changed the whole dynamic that Sheffield United had in that game. He was a handful for the United defence, causing them all sort of trouble. And the fact that he wasn't there anymore, even unconsciously, I think Sheffield United dropped a bit deeper, inviting United to attack a bit more. And Solskjaer's first two changes made a big difference. I mean, Greenwood, especially with his goal as well, to make it 2-2. And then the Martial substitution makes no sense whatsoever for me. When you on the upper hand, and you can say, yeah, he wanted to protect his lead. Well, there's no need to. you're all over Sheffield United. There's no need to make that change, and I think that cost United the win.
Jules, I'll stay with you as we look at the Premier League standings, because Manchester United have actually moved level with Spurs, 17 points, but 9th and 10th place, not where either of those clubs want to be at the moment. I don't know how your ice measuring skills are, Jules, but how thin is that ice that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is now skating on, do you think?
No, we will go back to what Ed Woodward said the last time he briefed us about the latest financial result, because that's the only time he speaks to us. He speaks to the media when he has to announce that the financial results at United are brilliant, because that's what they do. They're not very good on the pitch, but they're certainly very good off the pitch and bringing the money in. And he was saying, Solskjaer is in place for now. We trust him. We will back him in the January transfer window. We have time for him, etc., etc. I don't think today's game changes that. I don't think the next one or the one after that even changes that as well. He's there for a bit longer. I don't know for how long. I think he will finish the season. I'm not sure after this season, but for this season at least until January, I'm pretty sure he will still be there. It's just that he keeps making mistakes, and they're not always the same mistakes, but he keeps making mistakes, and he almost got away with it today, and in a way he did, because a point away at Sheffield United, I guess, is not a bad point, but he has to be very careful of not learning from his mistakes.
I agree. I don't think it would have made a difference today, even if they hadn't come back in this game and got something. I think if they'd lost 2-0 and trotted off back to Manchester, I don't think it would have been... Well, we might have been discussing whether he's going to be in a job or not, but I don't think Ed Woodward and the board would. I agree with Jules. I think for the time being, they've made a decision. They're just going to stick with what they've got. Now, you can argue and say, well, if they are thinking about changing him in the summer, which I think they should be at the very worst, what plans have they got in place? That's another story, because you've got Pochettino out there at the moment, but he's not going to be out there for long. So now you're in a scenario of he's one of the guys that you're looking at. Do you wait? We discussed that last week when Pochettino went. So, how proactive are Man United in the process of looking at other managers? Because they can trot out this line all they want about how we're going to give him a bit of time and so forth, and they may do that. But long term, he's certainly not the man that I think that they believe is going to take them forward.
Shaka, shouldn't they just do it right now? If Pochettino is sitting there, he's not going to be sitting there for long.
And that's the only question here. I think was it Julien was on the show last week saying that there is some suggestion that Pochettino has a clause in his agreement with Spurs.
Yes.
That
it was Mark Ogden.
Oh, it was Mark Ogden, that he can't take on another Premier League team till the end of the season.
We don't know yet.
If that's the case, right, let's assume that is the case, that Pochettino has this clause that he can't take on another Premier League team till 2020-21 season. If I'm Manchester United, I'm approaching him right now all the same, with that in mind, with the end of this current season in mind, because I think it's clear that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not the man that is going to make Manchester United the club that they were under Sir Alex Ferguson. You need somebody to at least move you in that direction. I don't think Solskjaer is doing that either. And I think Pochettino, maybe he doesn't get you back to those heights, but he certainly steers you in that general direction. I think they're going the opposite way right now. You need to secure him because he's not going to be available for very long.
Don't get me wrong, Pochettino or somebody else of that ilk doesn't come in and all of a sudden make this particular squad back into something special. It's going to take a lot more than that, but you need somebody at the helm who given the resources, is pretty much guaranteed to go and get the job done and get the club moving in the right direction.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.